Welcome back to Steffi Fan's channel. Today we will learn about the explosive confrontation at the Forrester mansion that threatens to tear the legendary family apart and the forbidden romance that could trigger Sheila's most dangerous revenge yet. The tension inside the Forrester estate has reached a boiling point that no one could have anticipated. Ridge Forrester, the devoted son and co-CEO of Forrester Creations, experienced a moment of utter disbelief when he stumbled upon a collection of design sketches carelessly left on the study desk. These weren't just any ordinary fashion illustrations. They bore the unmistakable artistic signature and legendary creative vision that only one person in the world possessed: his father, Eric Forrester. The distinctive flowing lines, the innovative silhouette concepts, and the masterful fabric draping techniques were all hallmarks of Eric's 5 decades in the fashion industry. What made Ridge's blood run cold wasn't the quality of the designs, but rather the shocking realization of their intended destination. These magnificent creations were being developed specifically for Logan Fashion House, the rival brand established by Katie Logan that directly competed against everything the Forrester family had built over generations. Ridge felt an overwhelming wave of betrayal crash over him as he clutched the portfolio with trembling hands. How could his own father, the patriarch who had built Forrester Creations from nothing into a global fashion empire, now be working secretly to strengthen their competition? The designs represented months of Eric's creative energy and expertise being channeled away from the family business. Every sketch was a masterpiece that could have elevated Forrester Creations' upcoming collection, yet instead they would be showcased under the Logan banner. Ridge's mind raced with questions about how long this clandestine collaboration had been going on, and whether other family members knew about Eric's devastating choice to aid the enemy. Unable to contain his rage and confusion, Ridge stormed through the mansion corridors toward Eric's private study. He burst through the heavy oak doors without bothering to knock, his face flushed with anger and hurt. Eric looked up from his desk with an expression that showed no surprise at his son's dramatic entrance, almost as if he had been expecting this conversation. Ridge slammed the portfolio down on the polished mahogany surface and demanded an immediate explanation for what he considered the ultimate act of family betrayal. His voice echoed through the study as he questioned how Eric could possibly justify designing for Katie Logan when Forrester Creations desperately needed his creative genius to maintain their competitive edge in an increasingly cutthroat fashion industry. Eric rose from his leather chair with measured dignity, his calm demeanor contrasting sharply with Ridge's explosive energy. With a voice that carried both authority and profound disappointment, the legendary designer delivered a declaration that cut through the tension like a knife. He stated firmly that he absolutely refused to allow his extraordinary talent and decades of accumulated expertise to be buried alive simply because his own children had decided he was too old to contribute meaningfully to the company he founded. Eric's words dripped with bitter resentment as he explained that both Ridge and Steffi had systematically pushed him to the sidelines, treating him like a relic from a bygone era rather than the visionary artist who still possessed more creative fire than designers. Half his age. He reminded Ridge that ageism had no place in true artistry and that Katie Logan had shown him the respect and appreciation that his own family cruelly withheld. The argument between father and son escalated into a full-blown war of words that shook the very foundations of their relationship. Ridge accused Eric of being manipulated by Katie's sweet words and false promises, suggesting that the Logan woman was simply using Eric's legendary name to legitimize her struggling fashion house. He argued that Eric's designs under the Forrester banner would carry infinitely more prestige and reach a far wider audience than anything Katie could offer, but Eric fired back with devastating precision, pointing out that prestige meant nothing when accompanied by disrespect and marginalization. He detailed specific instances where his creative suggestions had been dismissed in company meetings and how his design proposals had been shelved in favor of younger designers' work. As the confrontation reached its climax, Ridge delivered an ultimatum that would forever change their family dynamic. His voice shaking with emotion, he declared that if Eric continued down this path of collaboration with Katie Logan and persisted in actively undermining Forrester Creations, Ridge would have no choice but to sever all father-son ties completely. The threat hung heavy in the air. Ridge was prepared to sacrifice their familial bond to protect the company's interests and send a quote, message that family loyalty was non-negotiable. Eric's expression hardened at the ultimatum, his jaw set with stubborn determination that made it clear he would not be intimidated or controlled by threats, even from his own son. The atmosphere in the Forrester mansion became suffocating with the weight of broken trust and irreparable damage to relationships that had weathered countless storms over the years. Meanwhile, across town, in the privacy of Taylor Hayes' professional office, an entirely different kind of dangerous situation was unfolding. The renowned psychiatrist and Deacon Sharp had been dancing around their mutual attraction for weeks, but the magnetic pull between them had grown impossible to resist. Both were acutely aware that what they were doing was morally wrong on multiple levels. Taylor was betraying professional ethics by seclast, becoming romantically involved with someone connected to her daughter's tormentor, while Deacon was committing the ultimate betrayal against his wife Sheila, a woman whose capacity for vengeful destruction was legendary throughout Los Angeles. Despite receiving stern warnings from Steffi about the catastrophic consequences of pursuing this reckless relationship, and despite their own legitimate terror regarding what Sheila would do if she discovered their affair, Taylor and Deacon found themselves powerless against the intense chemistry that ignited whenever they were alone together. The forbidden nature of their connection only seemed to intensify the attraction, creating a dangerous feedback loop that pulled them deeper into temptation with each stolen moment. During one particularly vulnerable conversation, Deacon opened up about the suffocating pressure of maintaining the facade of being Sheila's devoted and perfect husband. He described the constant vigilance required to keep Sheila calm and stable, the exhausting mental gymnastics of managing her volatile moods, and the crushing loneliness of being trapped in a marriage held together more by fear than love. His confession revealed the depth of his emotional isolation and his desperate need for genuine human connection. As Deacon's voice cracked with emotion while describing his predicament, Taylor felt her professional boundaries completely dissolve, replaced by overwhelming compassion and desire. Unable to maintain her composure any longer, Taylor crossed the invisible line that separated therapist from lover. She moved toward Deacon with deliberate intent and pressed her lips against his in a passionate kiss that communicated everything words could not express. The kiss was not tentative or questioning. It was fierce and consuming, filled with weeks of suppressed longing finally released. Deacon responded, immediately pulling Taylor closer as they lost themselves in the moment, temporarily forgetting about the dangerous consequences that awaited them outside that room. What neither Taylor nor Deacon realized in their moment of reckless passion was that they had failed to secure their privacy completely. The office door, which Taylor thought she had closed firmly behind Deacon when he arrived, had not latched properly and remained slightly ajar. Through that narrow gap, a mysterious shadowy figure stood motionless in the dimly lit hallway outside, watching every intimate gesture and whispered word between the illicit lovers. The observer's identity remained concealed in darkness, but their presence represented a ticking time bomb that could detonate at any moment. This unknown witness to their affair possessed information that could destroy multiple lives simultaneously. If this person chose to reveal what they had seen to Sheila Sharp, the consequences would be catastrophic beyond imagination. Sheila's history of violent retaliation against those who betrayed her was well documented. She had shot her own son and committed countless other acts of violence when consumed by jealousy and rage. The thought of what Sheila might do upon discovering that her husband was carrying on a passionate affair with Taylor Hayes, of all people, was terrifying enough to make even the bravest person think twice. The stakes had never been higher for everyone involved in these two interconnected dramas. At the Forrester mansion, the rift between Eric and Ridge threatened to fracture the family permanently and potentially destroy the fashion empire they had spent generations building. In Taylor's office, the forbidden romance between her and Deacon had crossed a point of no return, with an unknown observer now holding the power to unleash Sheila's most terrifying fury. Both situations were powder kegs, waiting for a single spark to trigger explosions that would send shockwaves throughout the entire community and leave nothing